You fat lard, get some fucking dinner.
Eat some dinner.
Gosh. Get your own tots.
Hey, give me some of those tots. No, get your own tots.
Get your own.
All right, I'm good now. What's up, fellas?
All right. Okay, once he's done with the black lung.
God damn. Sorry.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Mid-Tier Thoughts. It's me, Austin, joined back with Mike for the first time in a long time, hanging out with Chris from Muffin Top Tactical. You'll remember him from one of our earlier episodes. And we are out here hanging out, talking about whatever we're going to talk about today. We had a plan, and then some wild new stuff happened, so we're just going to let it ride and see what happens.
Oh, my bad. You go.
It's July 13th, and anybody that's been watching the news right now knows what's going on today. What'd you have to say, Mike?
I was about to say, like, hey, we're probably going to talk about what this one is going to be titled after. It's President Shot or something like that.
Yeah. Now, we don't want to be too irreverent.
Yeah.
There's one dead in the crowd, one injured, and they did kill the gunman. And of course, Trump was wounded with a ear shot. Wasn't there a movie where the big hero got shot and it just grazed his ear? What movie was that?
I was thinking about Pineapple Express. Where he's like, "Holy shit, dude, your ear shot!"
Yeah, but like me and Austin were talking, like, dude, that's a bad trigger pull. That's a bad win call. That's Trump happened to zig when he should have zagged away from us not having a nominee.
Yeah, it's insane how close that was. I'm talking kind of rash and stuff like that. Someone did die. Like I am mournful.
Right.
That's a horrible fucking thing. No one should be murdered, especially just watching a presidential, speech. But that is crazy. He missed it. The grace of God right there skimmed his ear.
Yeah. Well, I think that just lends to the whole idea of, like, no matter how safe you think you are, like, you can just, because you think about it, you're surrounded by Secret Service dudes, you're at a presidential rally. In your head, you're probably thinking you're in one of the safest places in the nation right now. And, like, just goes to show that, like, even there, like, danger's always around the corner, man. So you got to be prepared.
Yeah, I can't wait for the deep stater dudes that are all setting this up. Like, oh, you really think he missed? It's all a setup.
Oh, dude, they're already coming out. People are like, oh, it was all set up to, like, increase his poll numbers and blah 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 blah.
Yeah, they're already saying it was staged. It was a paintball gun.
Yeah,
whatever. I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, I played a lot of paintball, bro, and I've never seen that color of red and it drip like that. So
I've never seen paintball explode an innocent person's head behind the president either.
Right. So
just say.
Maybe they're frozen.
Yeah, no shit.
I haven't played paintball in a minute, but I'm just saying
these new guns are crazy.
And everybody claims that they've played with frozen paintballs. Actually, paintballs don't work like that. They don't actually freeze. Maybe the older ones did, but like the newer shit don't freeze. They're oil based rather than they're kind of like a waterish oil based. It's a pretty unique compound.
Oil,
and if they do freeze, they're probably not going to travel down your barrel too good because they're just going to chop paint.
Yeah, I was going to say, aren't they just going to like crack or break too?
Yeah.
But anyway, that aside, paintballing the president. We need to do that next. Let's see if we can get in there close enough. No, I'm just kidding.
And it's pretty goddamn convenient that this whole thing came right after. I'm just saying, I don't know how far we want to get into woo-wooville, but like, I don't know if you guys watched that last speech with Biden at the 75th, whatever the fuck it was, event where he called Kamala Vice President Trump. He called Zelensky, Putin. The guy sounded drunk when he was up there talking. He just hit the end of every sentence was, but anyways.
Yeah, I know. I saw the part where he was like, I'm going to get hell from my wife. And like, everyone's just looking at each other like, what the fuck is this guy saying?
Yeah, like, what? Like, dude, like, what the heck? I don't know. This election season is the wildest You can't even script this shit.
And
if you ask me.
The part that's even crazier about it is like we are actually seeing history unfold. When's the last time that we've seen a president get shot at and actually something land?
Reagan.
Reagan.
Yeah, Reagan.
Yep. But the thing is, and then you saw George Bush dodge that shoe like a masterclass martial arts man.
you can't put the Bush man down. He's the fastest man in the West.
George W. Bush. I do cocaine on the weekends.
Why do you think he dodged that shoe so well?
Yeah.
You know?
But what was I gonna say? Us as millennials have lived through 9/11. We've lived through Columbine, 9/11, COVID, however many recessions, attempted president assassination, you name it. It's like we've seen a lot. We've seen a lot in our lives.
I've seen some shit back in my day, brother.
You guys are soft.
These Gen Alphas or whatever, like, boy, you should have seen it before the fucking internet.
It's funny you say that shit because it's like I got a Gen X dude at work. So he's this older dude, and he was a Navy vet too, but he was in the Navy like back when you only had to do like a 2-year contract. Right, and he just did 2 years and got out, like back in the 80s. And he's always like, "Oh, us Gen X veterans are built different." I'm like, "Yeah, because you guys didn't have a fucking war to fight. You didn't do shit."
You're rolling around.
I was like, "Oh no, you spent 2 years in San Diego. What a badass, bro."
Well, I was talking to one guy at work I work with. He actually was part of the blockade of Gaddafi. So
interesting.
He actually got to see some action.
Hell yeah.
So.
I just think it's funny when they're like, "Oh, yeah." You're like, "Dude, you didn't like. Oh, you served in arguably the most peaceful time in American history." Oh, wow. When like everyone in my generation spent 20 years overseas.
The thing that gets me with that too is like
not me because I didn't. But anyways,
honestly,
but you get what I'm saying.
Didn't miss much, brother. One good thing that did come out of this assassination, though, I will say, is we got to see all the Secret Service decked out, and I'm not gonna lie, I saw a lot of gear out there, and I'm probably the coolest fucking like special operations police force guy, like standing on top right in front of Trump with the Mark 18.
Yeah, dude. Like, well, they even had 511 socks.
Yeah, like they were decked down to the bone, dude. Like when I saw the one cop, so he was all in black, standing on top of Trump with the Mark 18. I'm pretty sure he had like, I was looking at his IR system he had. I was looking at all this stuff and his suppressor, and it's so funny how things have changed because like back in the day, it would have been like real mil-spec-ish looking guy, but
and it would have been a fucking Uzi.
Yeah, exactly.
A fucking Uzi. Yeah,
but
like when
how the gun industry or even protection stuff like that just like molds to like what works. And this dude decked out in his like SOCOM dressed up Mark 18 and everything like that is pretty crazy to see.
Well, I think it's wild that like watching that footage that all three of us as gun guys, right, we're less like, oh my gosh, what happened, and more like, what optic is that?
Yeah, what is he running there?
Well, if you watch, I call her my future ex-wife, the Secret Service girl that had the bun that filled in the gap, like right there by Trump.
Yeah.
She did a badass job. And if you watch all the way to when they put him in the vehicle, she pulls out her glasses like it's a window, throws them on, and is like, thank God we got him the fuck out of here. But then if
she puts on her glasses with CSI Miami music kicks.
Yeah. But if you just shift your focus just to the left, and you see the brown-haired lady with the pulled back, real short brown. She can't holster her pistol.
Oh, I'm seeing that right now.
Yeah, she is trying to reholster her pistol 3 different times. Can't do it. She just says "fuck it" and holds it at compressed ready. Hello. They must not.
That's so funny that you said that because I'm literally just now looking at a video my buddy sent me. He said, "Look at this bitch who needs the train, who needs to drive."
Yeah. She can't hit her holster again. Yeah.
Dude, I'm not going to. Yeah, dude, that's fucking hysterical that you brought that up right when my buddy sent me that.
Now I can't not see it. But my girl with the bun, I want to marry her. I'd take her. I'd buy her nice dinner and a drink.
You better know where your full autos are. Come take them from me, baby.
What's up, girl?
I got 3 unregistered Glocks in my butt right now.
Glock with the switch.
with this sweet.
I got that blicky. I got that blicky with a stick.
You know how many of them idiots, like, have you seen the videos going around on the internet where they trying to draw those things and they AD and almost shoot themselves in the nuts?
Yeah. My favorite one was like this video of a dude, and he's like, shit, we just out here at this lake, son. We go see if these fucking traces work. And he's like in the middle of a lake in like a city park, right? Where there's like clearly buildings on either side, and it's nighttime, and he's just mag dumping into this lake. And you can see like there's the streak ammo, and you can see it like hit the water and streak off. And
wow.
it cuts
so
from
it's like
that.
it's going somewhere into the city.
Yeah. And it like cuts to the one where it's like William Dafoe looking up at the sky, and it says some single mother just getting off her shift at Applebee's accepting her fate.
Jeez. That's so rough. We had such a nice plan, guys, to go into this podcast all nice and wholesome and talk about M14s and affordable fucking AR-15s and shit. Now we're talking about the wildness that is Secret Service can't reholster their guns. One of them is really hot, cool ass optics, and Donald Trump's kind of a badass.
Yeah, he's doing the whole fist pump thing up in the air.
Literally,
Dude,
we literally so planned to do like we were like, oh, we're gonna do kind of like a funny educational thing on like budget ARs and like how to get started with good shit without sacrificing a ton of money and kind of this kind of vibe. And then fucking 10 minutes before we decide to hop on, then the world changes. And we're like, well, second thought.
Second thought,
why the libtards can't shoot at distance. Why you should be practicing at 200 yards.
I'm not gonna lie.
How far was the shot? Did they say?
So
yet?
supposedly it's more than 150, but it's less than 2. So it's somewhere between that. So I'm like,
now, how did a rifleman get that close?
Okay, so from what I've heard, and granted, obviously this is all developing.
Yeah.
There was an aerial footage map. So there's like he was on a podium, and behind him there was like 3 barn-style buildings, and if he's looking out to the crowd, off to his stage right, about 200 yards is this other set of buildings that I guess were not included in the security perimeter for some reason. They had a pretty tight perimeter on them. And it sounds like they were probably worried more about like incidents coming from the crowd than without. And so I guess there's a parking lot over there, and he just kind of found his way over there, hopped up on top of the building, took his shots. And then in the footage, you hear like boom, boom, boom. That's when Trump grabs his ear.
Right.
Then you hear about 6 rounds of returning fire. There's about a 15-second pause, and then you hear 1 suppressed shot, and then it's over. And supposedly that final shot was the counter sniper taking the guy out at 200 yards. But, the news media is like, oh, he made a shot over 200 yards. And you're like, that's not that far, though.
Bro, the other day at the range, I was shooting my 40 millimeter. Not my 40 millimeter. God, I wish. My 40 cal, STI.
Yeah.
At 300 yards and was hitting a 12 by 12 target.
Yeah. See, like that's what I'm saying is like they try to make it sound like this 200-yard shot was like crazy impressive, and I'm like, no, like the dude, like thank God, like the bad guy kind of sucked.
Yeah, I think what's my drop? Let's see, at 200 yards, my adjustment for my 6.5 Creedmoor is 0.4 mils. So
yeah, I mean that's a wild thing to me. Is like from a gun guy standpoint, just analyzing like all of that, you're like this dude definitely like, I mean, granted he got close for sure, but I mean like it seems like with 3 rounds, all 3 of them missing, like you just kind of suck.
Well, yeah.
You will.
The thing is how there's something weird going down where that wasn't involved in the security plan, because if it had a line of sight possibility they should have had somebody there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think that like as we learn more about it, there's gonna be
Right.
more questions arising with stuff like that. And part of me is like, oh wow, that's kind of weird, that they didn't do that. But the other part of me is like the government is inept and can't wipe its own ass. So the possibility of someone being like, is also highly likely.
Right. Yes. Guess what? I heard somebody say, guess what they call the lowest performing guy that passed medical school? Doctor. They still call him doctor.
Yeah.
Some of the like some of the Secret Service people are high speed, low drag. Then you got people that can't put their fucking guns away.
Yeah.
So you might have had a fucking goober on the security plan. You just never know.
Yeah.
Right.
But anyways,
it could have maybe the assumption was that like, oh, that area is within sight of the sniper team, so they got it covered, and they just looked left at the right time, and next thing you know, oh fuck,
Yeah. You never know. The good thing is granted, it's not good. One person got injured, one person got killed, and Trump sustained a flesh wound, but he's living to fight another day.
Well, dude, it
appears.
Any debate that goes forward, he could literally just come forward and be like, "Oh, I'm sorry, did you take a bullet for the country?" No, okay.
Yeah.
That dude just needs to retire from now on. He needs to retire the suit and jacket, put on a leather coat, and come out to "I'm a Real American" by that Hulk Hogan used to come out to.
Dude, I was thinking NWA.
Yeah.
That motherfucker coming straight from the underground. Just walking out with fucking an earring through the hole.
Yeah. And come out leather jacket or bad to the bone, like the opening scene of Terminator, because I can't be killed.
Yeah, I was thinking more of like the Matrix, just him coming out in full black leather thing. Shoot at me again, I'll dodge it again.
Yeah. Full dude, there's so many things on Instagram right now about like Neo and stuff like that. Like it's wild.
Isn't it wild that like this is like in all seriousness, right? This is a tragedy. This is something that's terrible that has happened.
Right.
But like on two things. One, we're incredibly comfortable with this at this certain point. Like America has devolved to the point to where like an attempted a presidential assassination is something that has made us all just be like, huh, yeah, go figure.
I'm going to make a meme about it 15 minutes later.
And that's the other part is that our reaction to like, wow, this is actually a pretty serious event that it's like, happens very rarely in history, although it has happened a few times in America. It's a rare event and like usually not a good sign of the times. And we're like, haha, memes go burr.
Yeah.
We go, haha, many men.
Yeah.
I've got so many memes. Like my phone has been going nonstop getting memes in. And I think that's our new version of people's communication of facts that are so ridiculous that you have to laugh at it or you're going to cry.
But the FUDs go ham too. Like the FUDs learned how to meme as well. So like I've seen so many like Trump standing there with Jesus, like I'll take care of the country.
Dude, my favorite one is my wife even got fooled by one of these, and I was like, "No, babe, this is not a real thing." And it's one of like this ungodly sized semi truck, right, pulling a truck full of American flags, right? All the American flags are on poles, and it's like hauling it, and it's like, if some hot chick on Instagram can get 1 million likes, how many likes can we get for this? And you're like, and people thinking this is like a legitimate semi truck driving around with just unfurled American flags waving willy-nilly, and it's like a 1/4 mile long semi truck in the picture, right? And the fact that like some people are looking at this and being like, God bless America, you know what I mean?
Liberty.
Well, it's kind of like when you see your grandma or grandpa figure out Facebook for the first time.
Yeah.
And or Instagram or any of these things is they just start posting their most ridiculous shit. Now it's just, we've got grandpa found the meme, how to make memes, and he's having a great time with it.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, a lot of them are funny, a lot of them are stupid, but anyways, The darker the subject matter, the more I enjoy them, I guess, because
Darker the berry, sweet juice.
I got a dark soul. My soul is dark.
You're one of those. You're one of those grandpa memes now with the Grim Reaper that's like born to shit, forced to whap. Born to shit. Dark soul, bro.
So a few years ago, I almost died and I had an accident with some cleaning chemicals and burnt my lungs real bad.
Mm-hmm.
And even my friends, once they figured out I probably wasn't going to die, my friends made memes about me. I'm like, that's the kind of friends I have. Like, I woke up from a 2-week coma and had memes made about my buddy sent me some memes.
Bro,
about,
I'm gonna take a picture of your face.
Bro, wake up.
A World War II, World War I helmet on it with just like mustard gas coming out of a bucket.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. It was actually chlorine gas. I mixed CLR and Clorox bleach together on accident. And fucking
accidentally committing war crimes.
Yeah. And yeah, so yeah, like you said, like even my best friends were making memes about me when I was in a coma, and you know.
I would at least wait for you to like wake up first. How am I supposed to memes if I can't?
You just wake up to a bunch of pictures of like you sitting there, mouth open, and just like, oh, I got my dick in his mouth.
Yeah. Well, no, they didn't do that, but
that you know of.
Well, security was pretty tight around my
mouth.
room. My mom kept it locked down pretty good. Jeez. I was just about to say that. Here I was opening up about myself to you guys, and now I realize this is not a safe space.
Not as safe as that mouth.
I was just about to say, how tight were they?
Y'all nasty. Yeah.
This is the one that gets us canceled, boys.
Yeah, this is the one. This is very not normal Muffin Top Tactical product here. It's not a normal day though. It's like we can either laugh about this shit or we could cry about it. Like,
yeah, it's one of those things where it's like it's so crazy and it's such a wild time that you're like, all I can do is laugh, because if I actually sit and think about like the actual repercussions of this becoming a real thing, it's really depressing.
Well, you know, you work in emergency services. You guys are both vets. I've been EMT, EMR, and helped do some stuff other places. You know, at certain points in time, it's beneficial to have a super dark sense of humor. You know, because it's like, if I don't laugh about this, I'm probably going to think about it later, and I'm not going to be able to sleep. So, but yeah, it's okay for the world right now to have a dark sense of humor.
Yeah,
because we're living through some crazy times. You know.
Yep.
Yeah, when you start thinking about it too hard, man, it's just like you just realize how much money we funneled to Ukraine and how much like that the government is just fucking you in front of you, right in front of your eyes.
It's like, here you go. We're just going to hand over another $1 billion.
Yeah, and it's
like we can't loan money if we don't have money. America doesn't have any money. Like, dude, he's just making it up. So
the money's fake and the points don't matter.
Yeah. Well, and in that case, let me rack up a bunch of credit card debt, because if it don't matter for you, it shouldn't matter for us, right?
Joke's on you. I'm already there.
Joke's on you.
The crippling debt.
And you know what? That's the majority of Americans right now. We all have too much credit card debt. Everybody's, you know, especially the poor. Like, I see a bunch of new kids right now going out and buying a house and buying a new pickup. You know, you're paying 8% on your house, and you're paying way too much for it right now. And buying a new truck, and at least around Wyoming, for a brand new 1-ton truck, you're looking at $100,000 at 11% interest. What in the holy frick are these people? You know, it's like, what are you thinking?
Well, I think that's the thing is, like, at a certain point, I think, like, the younger generation is just like, well, money's fake anyway, so.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those things where it's like, I feel like as a millennial, I look at it and I'm like, cool, so, like, I just don't ever get to own a house now, and I have to work till I die. Like, all right, thank you, boomers.
This is awesome. Good job. Yeah, we will never have it as good as our parents did. You know, like.
Well, it's like I watched this thing where this guy talked about how his parents got divorced, and his dad in like the early '90s, right? And so into the early 2000s, his dad had $180,000 house, and his mother lived in the house that they'd previously had, which was a $250,000 house, right? His mother, like 2 years ago, sold that house for $638,000, and his dad sold his house for $450,000, right? And that to basically make the equivalent of what they were making, you'd have to add like 2 more zeros at the end of your paycheck to make everything balance out in today's money. And that's just 20 years ago.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, just come to the crushing realization of it and just be over with it, dude. I don't know why I'm complaining about it. Just die.
Yeah.
Die already. Give your soul to the government.
No, I won't. I'll just upset that I got to pay, $17 for like a double cheeseburger at McDonald's. It's like, holy shit.
You ever want to radicalize anybody? Just tell them that a $5 foot long now costs $13.59.
Yeah. Remember, it was such a catchy tune. $5 foot long.
Yeah, the $14 foot long just doesn't have the same ring to it.
Is it really $14 for a foot long sandwich?
Up where I'm at, we actually went to go get Subway the other day. We had some coupons, and we went up there, and I noticed that. And the cheap Subway sandwiches were $12.59 for a foot long. I'm paying $1 an inch. I'm like, Jesus, dude, what is this, Vegas? And yeah, like some of the other ones were like $13 to $15, and I was like, I started doing the math. I'm like, you start adding up meals like to get chips and a drink and everything, and you were walking out of there with a family of 4 for like $80-$90. I'm like, dude, did I just walk out of Red Lobster?
Right. Yeah. And you know what the problem is? You say Red Lobster like it's fancy. That's a mid-tier restaurant.
We're mid-tier guys, so that works.
Yeah, we're mid-tier. Yeah, you guys are mid-tier thoughts. Us at Muffin Top Tactical are pretty high class. We like to.
We're high-end eaters around here.
That's why we got a Muffin Top.
I remember a guy had a conversation with me one time where he's like, I don't understand why people think that going to Olive Garden or Red Lobster for like your birthday is a special thing. Like they're just normal restaurants. I was like, fuck you, I grew up poor. All right. That is a special occasion.
Yeah. I didn't drink name brand soda. We had Sam's Choice.
Hell yeah. Dr. Thunder, baby.
Yeah, Dr. Thunder or
Shasta.
Shasta, or what was the Mountain Dew version? It was like Mountain Lightning.
Mountain Lightning or
Yeah.
Mountain Thunder.
Yeah, or the knockoff multi meal versions of the cereal, which actually, I hate to be that guy, are just as good.
No.
The
Cocoa Puffs, you could totally tell the difference, dude.
Okay. Mr. Cocoa Puffs must be nice.
Dude, the Cocoa Puffs are everything, dude.
Speaking
I'm a Cocoa Pebbles kind of dude.
Get this child out of here. All right.
Be gone, sir.
Speaking of just as good, so a few weeks back, Bear Creek Arsenal sent me 3 uppers to test out.
Right.
So far, so good. I haven't done like super crazy tests on them. I haven't had a whole lot of time to shoot lately, but like it's funny because it's like when I was doing reviews and stuff and looking up on them, it seems like it reminds me very much of like Palmetto 10 years ago. Right?
Okay. Yeah.
Like 10 years ago, Palmetto, it was like it was a 50-50 shot, right? You paid $400 for a rifle and it might work, right? And it was very much like you had the one dude who's like, I've shot 1,000 rounds through it, no problem. The other guy was like, it blew up in 3, right? And so Bear Creek was very much the same across the board. Like a lot of their AR pistols are like extremely overgassed. And from what I've seen on reviews, and I was watching this one after they sent me the uppers to kind of see what to expect. And this one guy literally with it was like, oh, I had to replace a few small parts. But like after that, like it ran perfectly fine. So it's like, if you're willing to get like a few small parts to replace things right out of the gate, like you're going to be pretty good. Well, later on in the video, he tells you the small parts he had to replace was the cam pin, the firing pin, and the gas key.
Yeah, small parts.
Yeah, he's like, what's going on?
I hit the wrong button. I was gonna cough. I went to mute my mic and I hit something on my soundboard.
That's fantastic.
That was a joke for the small parts. Sorry.
I was like, yes, dude, those like small parts, like, homie, your entire operating system blew up. Like, that's not small parts, you know. And then like Reno May did one, and like the barrel nut wasn't even tightened.
What? Wow.
Like, so he did one. It was now granted, it was kind of an oddball. It was a 7.62 by 39 upper, a pistol upper, but he'd done one video where he got fucked up because he broke the firing pin within like 60 rounds. And so they sent him a couple other ones, right? And he wound up doing one to where it was like he had one that he bought and one that somebody else bought to kind of show like if there was favoritism in the uppers they chose. And so both of them stopped working within 200 rounds. And the final one that stopped working, not only did the firing pin break again, but he was like, man, something's kind of weird here. And the handguard, the screws had come loose. So he took it off. And that's when he noticed the barrel was hand loosened. Like it was loose enough that he could take it off with his hand.
The barrel nut?
Yeah.
That's wild.
He was like, this is insane. So like, I was kind of honestly really worried. And it was funny because I wanted, one of the ones they sent me was a 20-inch retro upper. So it's like the old school M16 upper, right?
Yeah, like A2.
Yeah, well, no, it's like A4. It's got a detachable handle, detachable carry handle. But still, it was like, oh, it's kind of a vibe. And I was like, well, I have an A2 buttstock. I'll go get a lower, build out a cheap lower, slap it on it. I'll use that to test all these, right? And dude, I roll into the local gun shop, and the look of disappointment on the guy's face, because I get the PSA stripped lower. And I'm like, all right. I'm like, hey man, I need a cheap parts kit. Doesn't have to be super great. I'm doing this for a YouTube thing. I'm not really worried. And he's like, oh yeah, I'll grab you an Arrow over here. And we go over there, and he's got Arrow and he's got Anderson. The Arrow parts kit is $100. The Arrow parts kit is $50, right? And actually, sir, what? I don't have to be the guy, but like, is there a fire control group in that Anderson? He literally looks me in the face and goes, I don't know. I've never sold one before. And I was like, well, time to learn because I'm cheap. Let's buy that shit.
Well, bullshit, because he has.
Yeah, I 100% he has. It's just that it's like this guy is trying to like fucking shame me. And I'm like, hey, fuck you, dude.
It's like, dude, I have no shame. But so
like, I'm literally shooting 3 Bear Creek arsenals. My shame was left at the door.
Yeah. So are you having decent luck with those? So
far so good. I only have a couple hundred rounds through each one of them. I will say the 20-incher seems incredibly overgassed, but it doesn't matter. Like, I've seen like sometimes when you do like a rifle length gas system and you put on like a carbine stock that they don't work all the time. This one, it doesn't matter. It'll run with anything. So I think that's kind of the benefit of it being a little overgassed.
Yeah.
But the other two, they seem to be working so far because I got one of their 16-inch side upper, the side charging uppers, and I got a 16-inch normal one, and then a 20-inch barrel. And so far, they're all okay, but it's definitely one of those things where I feel it's like it's entry level quality as far as like the fit and finish is kind of lacking, and it's very like I think the big thing is it's really hard nowadays to fuck up a rifle. And it's basically anybody can pump one out at like $200 to $300 because the tooling exists, and it's like widespread and it's not that hard. They just make very simple, no frills guns. Right. But I think the big thing is like their quality control could probably stand to be a lot better.
So one of my buddies, he bought an Anderson, a full Anderson rifle for like $450 at the local big box store. And it wouldn't even cycle one round like consecutively. It'd fire one, and it wouldn't even cycle the bolt. So he had me meet him at the range to see if we could diagnose it. And the gas block was so loose on it, I could reach through the handguard and push it, and it moved. Like I almost pushed it off the end of the barrel. So it left the factory with a completely loose gas block. So, but we tightened it up and it ran fine. So
that's the thing is like when you look at Palmetto and their pricing for like a complete gun, not on sale, just standard price, let's say 4 to 4.25, right? If you want to get cheaper than that, it's really hard to get cheaper than that, I think, without cutting some kind of corners.
right.
And those corners either being that you are using less like cheaper material because you're able to get it cheaper, or you're not putting as many man hours into the production so it can come across as kind of rough, or you're just cutting out the quality control process. Like you have to cut a corner somewhere to save on the money.
Right.
Yeah. So you have to find some place in there to where you're like, all right, we cannot deal with that. And it's one of those things where it's like if you're going to go super cheap, you're making some kind of compromise. But where I think that like the Bear Creek thing really would be the most beneficial for, realistically, is like the kind of person who just wants to have an AR to have one, and they shoot like 100 rounds a year.
Yeah, and also maybe a guy. I've been thinking about this too, like maybe like where the Andersons, the Bear Creeks kind of fall into is the guy that knows how to work on an AR already, but just needs one to have as a dumpster gun. You know what I mean? Like it runs okay. We're not expecting super tremendous outcome of it. We're going to throw a red dot on it, and that's kind of like the ride in the back of the truck gun that I don't want to get my my high end AR all beat the shit for no reason. It's not it's like a range toy / I'm out and it it's odds are it's not going to turn into a super kinetic situation and you just bring it for plinking when you're on your four-wheeler.
I think like realistically where it's at with something like that is that realistically the person who's buying a rifle for $380, right? They're buying it because it's cheap and they can't afford something better as far as like price wise. So this whole thing of like, oh, well, it'll fall apart in 1,000 rounds. Like realistically, the amount of time it's going to take that guy to shoot 1,000 rounds, if he's buying this for budget constraints,
right?
He's not going to be shooting 1,000 rounds anytime soon. You know what I mean? Like that might be the lifetime of the rifle for him.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it's very much for those kind of guys who are like, yeah, I want one to have one, and I'm just going to put it, by the door, and when things go south, we're good.
What do you think, Mike?
I'm a big purpose-driven rifle guy, so I don't really see the point in having like that dumpster fire of a rifle. I understand the concept of it. I understand why people would want one, but I'm a big like, hey, if it's not to the spec I want, I'm just not going to own it. Period.
Yeah, and that's perfectly fine. Like, I've got I got a badass Mark 12 that I spent a shitload of money on. And that thing shoots well.
Yeah.
And I got a Mark 12 Mod O with Otter Creek Labs AEM5, OCM5, the pretty much a copy of the Allen Engineering can. Mm-hmm. So it's and a PRI upper, the upper itself was $1,800. Yeah. But I mean, I bought it from a company that actually builds the Mark 12 Mod O's for the fucking military. It was the people that build it and a copy of the suppressor that it's meant for it, So, I mean, I got a lot of money tied up into this gun, and it shoots like I got a lot of money tied up into it. Like, I mean, it is a awesome shooter,
Yeah, exactly. So, and it does the purpose that you want. It does everything. And a lot of people like having a ton of guns around. And I understand, like, as an American, me too, like, everything in my body screams like, hey, go own 15 of the same rifle because you like it, because color cool, But, like, if we're going to be realistic here, I completely switched my mindset on owning guns. I owned a crap load of guns. I ended up selling 2/3 of my inventory of guns so I can get down to like a certain amount of gear I like. And now I've gotten it down to, I have 4 guns. They're very purpose driven guns. They only have the purpose of either carrying every day, carrying on my belt, or like having the certain loadout, like my B&T loadout. My B&T loadout will have a Glock with it, because obviously if I'm using Glock mags, I want to run a Glock with that loadout. And then my like my actual rifle build, I have a different full size for that one. And then I have my Glock 19, and I feel like a lot of people kind of put their egos aside on buying gear in general, and just took that, like that cheap $600 rifle, and just bought $600 worth of ammunition, that it would go further in their money built guns than having multiple guns.
Yeah, I agree. Having enough ammo to train is very important, and taking the time to go shoot your guns. Like I'm more on the competitive side of things, so I have quite a few guns, but none of them are I'd call sub quality, I guess you'd say. Like
Yeah.
I
Well, even on the competition side of it, like just shooting competition, you're already leagues ahead of people that just own guns, and they're like, well, I want to fight for my right, and stuff like that don't even touch them.
Right. I've taken a lot of the tactical classes and stuff, and done a lot of that stuff, but then also being a competitive shooter for almost 2 decades, also, you're solving problems on the clock. You're, shooting and moving and reloading and figuring out stuff, and
You're actually learning how to run a gun.
Exactly. Right. It's all time behind the wheel. Like, you're going to become a better driver if you drive.
Right.
Yeah. That's the thing too, is I think, like, so for example, like with me, right? Like I was given these things for a review for the YouTube channel, right?
Right.
Would I have gone out of my way to buy these on my own? Probably not, just because of the mixed bag reviews, And so that's the thing too, is like, I don't know. One of the things I'm curious about is like if they cherry pick uppers or not whenever they do throw them out. Like, oh, these ones are different, like these ones are higher spec quality or something, as opposed to the general populace.
They actually put somebody on there to do some QC before it goes out the door.
Right. And that's what I'm curious about, to see that kind of thing, because it's like, one of the things too is like, and I admitted this in the video that I did on it, was like, they all, when they do this, they offer you an affiliate program, right? You get 3% of anything someone buys. So it incentivizes you to make the video good. Now they're not buying you, but they're saying like, hey, if you do make people like this, then they potentially buy it, then you get a cut, right?
Right.
And so I fully admitted that on the video when I did my review of these 3 things on my part 1 review, where I was like, hey, this is a thing. I was like, but frankly, dude, it's like, I don't want your money if these things are garbage. It's like, if these things turn out to suck, right? And I don't want your money, you know what I mean? Like, because I don't want to be the guy who's like, oh, you told me this was good, and I used it in a home invasion when someone broke into my house and it fucking failed and I died. Like, I don't want to be responsible for that. So
yeah,
that's kind of my thing.
Here on the Muffin Top Tactical, any advice is not legally binding, and we are not professionals.
Yeah.
Seek professional training.
Gotta put that out there.
Yeah, it's like, if you're listening, like, I don't know, don't listen to podcasts. Don't listen. Go out and get actual training, because, and honestly, like, stuff you see on YouTube, you see. Like, even Grantham stepped away from the Leviathan guys because they, and because you don't want to be bought and paid for like that, and you want to put out quality, truthful stuff, that's why, like, I mean, if we ever get sponsors on our program, if we do, it's going to be stuff that I actually believe in. I'm not going to let freaking some ball sack shaver, I don't know, come on and decide that that's our sponsor. I don't necessarily need that,
No, absolutely. I mean, I think, well, that's like one of the ones that we have on the show that I really like is actually it's Blackout Coffee, and I'm not necessarily doing a plug so much in here, but the thing I like about them is that they actually work with a lot of like the Second Amendment Foundation, the Gun Owners of America, the 1776 Foundation. They have things like that where they have coffee that's the same flavors as the other stuff, but it's branded for those brands, and that when you buy that coffee, a majority of the purchase goes towards these pro-gun organizations that are fighting for your rights. And so it's something like that, to where it's like, okay, they're actually putting like a little bit of money behind their mouth, money where their mouth is, and like what they actually believe in. And it's like, if I'm going to throw my coffee at that, I mean, I'm gonna throw my money at that coffee over Black Rifle, who's just out here like pissing all over gun owners half the time and sexually assaulting the employees the other half.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's kind of my thing with that.
I probably am gonna be ordering one of your shirts that you made.
Ooh, which one?
The ATF killed my vibe and my dog.
Yes, that's my favorite shirt of all time.
That thing. If I'm gonna get it in purple, bright ass purple,
neon purple.
Yeah, and have it because I was wearing my ATF is gay hat on the 4th of July with my American flag, wife beater on. So I was like, man, it'll look good with my Pit Viper 1980s looking Pit Vipers, my ATF is gay hat, and my ATF killed my vibe and my dog shirt.
That's rad, dude.
The only thing is I kind of want to. I don't really want to piss them off too bad because I want to get some shit approved quickly still. But
that thin line.
Yeah.
Get the tax stamp and then pissing them off.
Yeah.
That's the line I like riding, baby.
Yeah. Yeah. If they can't take a joke, I don't.
Machine guns.
Well, what's that?
I said, speaking of lines, I'm gonna go snort one and shoot these illegal machine guns.
Yeah. No comment.
For legal reasons, that's a joke.
Yeah. For all legal reasons, yes, that's a joke. FBI van number 6 down the road. So
yeah, I'm trying to think of like some other stuff that's been happening lately in the gun world, but to be honest with you, it's been pretty lax lately because the whole presidential coming up.
Yeah,
the bump stocks got cleared, and pistol braces got cleared. So we're good on that.
And if you got rid of either of yours, either whether you had a bump stock and you got rid of it, or if you had a pistol brace and you SBR'd it, you're a pussy. All right, everybody. Well, unfortunately, looks like Mike got kicked from the chat for some reason, but we're about time anyway, so we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. With that, again, guys, my mid-tier thoughts. You can find us on Instagram, on YouTube. You can find us all over the place. We got. We'll have links in the chat down below. And thank you guys. Thank you, Chris, for having us on.
Yeah.
But as far as you go, for my listeners, if you want to go ahead and shout yourself out.
Yeah, this is a Muffin Top Tactical Podcast. We're found on all the places you find podcasts, Apple, Spotify. Facebook is Muffin Top Tactical. Instagram is MTT_pod. I don't remember. So just follow us. And our email is muffintoptacticalpod@gmail.com. Our Instagram is weird. We got zucked. But find us on Facebook and you'll figure it out. And then, Apple and Spotify, like and subscribe and all. We do have an email if you want to send us your thoughts and stuff you want to have on the air. We might even send you a sticker at muffintoptacticalpod@gmail.com.
And for all my listeners and anyone watching this on YouTube or Spotify or anything like that, we'll have links in the description to both his Instagram and his other social stuff on how to get a hold of him. If you guys want to reach out to him or follow his podcast, I would recommend listening to it too. It's another great one on there. But with that, man, it's been a pleasure and thank you.
Cool.